All right, minors and aspirants. Remember that epic Phoenix comeback we spoke about last time? Well, guess what? We did not just rise from the ashes, we have verified with the answer keys, we have stared at our own mistakes, and finally, we've cracked the code of why the hell did this go wrong? We have cried, maybe. We have overanalyzed, and we have cursed those silly elimination questions. And now, what we have is something priceless. We have clarity. So we finally know what gaps were, where the gaps were, and not some random, I would say, Instagram guru analysis, but our own paper, our own data, our own stupidity kindly pointed out by our own analysis. And trust me, there is a strange piece that comes after a post-mortem, of the paper, just to clarify. The piece of knowing exactly which areas need to be sharpened, which topics need to be actually read, and which coaching material can finally go into this will never be read again pile, right? This is where Target 2026 officially begins. No false motivation, no Instagram reel shouting, do or die, right? Wake up at 4 a.m. Here, we do something way more dangerous. We prepare like grown ups who have finally stopped lying to themselves. So grab your chai, coffee, whatever, close that 1000 tab browser that you have open, and let's build your 2026 UPSC plan with surgical precision and zero drama. Okay, so what next for us? First things first, we'll address the $1,000,000 question. Ab kya karna hai? So stop panicking and stop scrolling Instagram, and we'll also stop asking 45 different people for 46 different strategies. What we do next is simple. We take control. No more UPSC ने undercut कर दिया stories, right? The goal is 2026. The timeline is around 360-65 days. And this time, we prepare like someone who's already seen the battlefield once. Let's reset fully and do it right. So there are a couple of categories I would mark this video as. The first part would be the optional paper. Then we look at the GS paper, what to do with the GS paper. And as far as the GS paper ethics is concerned, separately, how to go about it, and also what to do with your essay paper. And then, yes, of course, we'll have to focus on important part of answer writing. How do we address or incorporate that? And then the $1,000,000 question on CSAT, what to do with CSAT, and of course summarizing it all with the timetable. This is going to be the structure for this video, step by step. So first up, as I said, the optional paper. Optional is that beautiful demon who either carries you across heaven or kicks you out brutally. So let's get one thing straight. This is your scoring engine. This paper is not about inspiration, it's about command. You either own your optional or you are owned by it. So, for a lot of people, the very first step is going to be choosing the optional. Again, we can have hundreds of hours of discussion what could be the best optional. There is no best optional. Of course, some things would go into choosing an optional. The very first thing would be your interest. Are you genuinely interested in that topic or not? And equally important is your acumen. Do you have the skill set? Do you have the requisite skills for that optional or not? Let's say I am somebody great at mugging up facts, maybe history, answer would be great. If I'm somebody who is great at analyzing things, geography, possibly economics, maybe I come from a great college and I have had a great graduation, right? Great teachers, everything was amazing. So I can take that subject. It could be something completely professional, maybe a law optional, medical optional, right? Or I have good writing skills, so I'll choose say PSIR, sociology, right, public administration. Anyway, the top optionals are PSIR, sociology, anthropology, and geography. And then next would be PubAd and history. And for a lot of you, this is what you'll choose. And those who've already chosen it, there is no point in cribbing over this optional or that optional. You have decided, maybe you have taken the coaching as well. This is now the time to revise your optional. Every day, we'll devote around 3 hours into revising our optional. It could be two, we can then slowly increase to three, right? Now, firstly, for those who have covered their optional once, maybe at least they have gone to or attended a coaching institute for optionals. So start with 2 hours of optional revision, and then slowly the next 1 hour will be incorporated specifically for answer writing. What answer writing? The PYQs, the previous year questions from 2013 onward, or even beyond that. Please go through all the PYQs, and you should actually by heart it. So if let's say you see a question, you know very well that this question was asked in 2015, section B. That's how good you should be with, or thorough you should be with your PYQs. That's point one. So 2 hours of reading and then the related PYQs. This is what you have to consistently follow. This would make around 3 hours. Now, for somebody who has not studied an optional yet, this is the time you decide. Maybe take a month or so. Please decide by the end of say July, August, or maybe mid-September. Please join any optional. It's all going to be the same. Join any coaching institute, maybe take some demo classes, and if you find the faculty's way of explanation great for you, that's sufficient, right? We say the vibe must match. That's all that is required. Okay, of course, please understand that the coverage should incorporate answer writing, PYQs, and stuff regularly, and that should be sufficient. Ultimately, it's just a hand holding exercise. Don't ever feel that some teacher or some institute will help you clear the exam. It's you after all, right? So, we as teachers can only act as mentors, guiding you, maybe hand holding you. That's it. You have to walk those steps. We always say you can take a horse to the pond, you can't make it drink. The horse got a drink on its own, right? So for those, the idea is by the end of January, I should have completed my optional. Anyhow, and when I say completed, I would expect I have studied the optional. So you will study it. I have revised it at least once. That would be even better. And I have at least solved all the PYQs or have gone through the PYQs. This is something which I would expect anyone who is going to start their optional to do. And for those who have already covered their optional, this is the time for multiple revisions, focusing on the PYQs, and also possibly joining some kind of test series where you can be more regular with respect to writing answers. Also, to clarify, uh, no test series, at least I can claim for a lot of them. I would not say no. A blanket statement is dangerous to make. But a lot of test series that will join, the papers are going to be checked largely by not the faculty who teaches, but by some other senior aspirants who might have cleared the mains, might have appeared for interviews, etc. So you'll have to understand this point. For any faculty, the more popular the faculty, the more difficult it is for him or her to check the paper on their own, right? So this is going to be a thing. So focus largely on finding out your own mistakes and solving questions that are very, very close to what can be asked in the exam. And trust me, the idea of a test series is not to replicate or maybe guess what can be asked. That should never be the idea. If somebody is trying to sell this, that's a very wrong sell actually. We are here to prepare you, and you are here to be prepared, be ready for any possible question. Second guessing what can be asked is a dangerous exercise. Don't fall prey to it, please, I request you. Okay, so, for all you aspirants, January is the key month before which you should ideally have covered your optional if you want a great rank. Otherwise, that year you might, I'm sure it's possible, you might clear the optional as well, the exam as well, but getting a great rank is challenging because you see, the month of, say, end of May, you have the exam. So forget May now, because once you take the exam, you need, so let's say a break of 2 3 days. You have your month of June, and by the end of August, you have your what? The main examination. So you hardly have 2.5 months. In these 2.5 months, you have to focus on GS, you have to focus on answer writing, you have to focus on remembering all those topics which you did not study, let's say for the last 3 4 months, because you were focusing on the preparation of what? Your prelims. So topics like say ethics, essay writing, world history, all these topics, social issues, social justice. These are topics you have not largely covered during your prelims preparation. This is the time where you cover all these things. So of course we have no time to waste. We have no time to learn something from scratch, right? So all we can do in this is revise. Again, there can be some outliers, I'm sure. Those who have great command over the subject and who are exceptional, Chitti the robot, we are not referring to these exceptions. We are referring to mere mortals, normal human beings, mm, including people who are intelligent or extremely intelligent also. They would need some time, right? So this is what we do for the optional. Before January, you should be thorough with your optional. Uh, Only then would you be a serious contender for that year's examination. This is the harsh reality. I don't know why aspirants take a long time to understand this, but optional, as I said, is what is going to decide your rank. Yes, there are other factors also. Getting a great interview score can also push your rank or maybe push it down with a poor score. But ultimately, the selection will boil down to optionals because herein lies the difference in scores. So, for your optional paper, the strategy is very clear. Before January, please get it through. And then for your intricate detailed strategy for what to do for your own option, you can always contact your faculty. They'll guide you through the classes, etc., that you must have joined, or else for those who are going to join. That's point one. Now let's come to the GS papers. So we have 4 GS papers. Let's focus on the three first: one, two, and three. One thing I would also like to tell you, which is very interesting, is PYQs are always going, previous year questions are always going to be the guiding light for all of us. It's the guiding light to evaluate your preparation, maybe your faculty's value as well, or worth as a teacher, though I always refrain, at least from saying this to students. Right now, there is no point in evaluating your faculty. I myself am a faculty. I would not want my students to evaluate me at all. But then, see, if I teach something, it should be of relevance for the examination. I'm not here to make you an expert in polity or governance. I'm here to make you an expert in writing answers for polity and governance that can possibly be asked in the examination, right? You can always walk into a class and show off the knowledge I have. That's useless for you. PYQs are the assessment on how close you are to the examination. Now, please understand, for a lot of papers, some PYQs might be irrelevant. Let's say a question asked in 2015 on a very current event has no scope or no chance of being asked again. So, keeping that aside, static portion is something that we focus on. Now, in these PYQs, I hope you have also analyzed, and if not, please do it in this time, as to what and where should I focus more on. I'm going all crazy for history and geography, but then I see that in 2024, 9 questions being asked from Indian society and social issues. If I had focused on studying social justice properly, if I had focused on studying governance properly, right, and then Indian society and social issues, which are all smaller modules to cover, then I would have gotten the advantage in 9 questions. PYQs. They will constantly act as a reminder on where to focus. So please allocate your time responsibly, and in your timetable, apart from your optional paper, we'll also carry one GS paper at a time. One GS paper. So 2 hours to that GS paper. Initially, we'll start studying and revising, and then we'll give one additional hour for what? Answer writing. Okay. And again, in case you want to practice answer writing, I would prefer you solve or try to practice answer writing from any coaching institute material, not any material, the material that they sell in the market in the form of test series. See, test series for a lot of coaching institutes is a paid product. This means the quality has to be ensured by them. The team, if not better, at least it's more focused, because it is this product that they're selling to students. So I will not tell you how to get all these things free of cost. That's for you to decide, right? We have plenty of resources nowadays. And as far as an aspirant is concerned, I will not judge you if you, even get this through possibly not so legal means. You are now a student, that's okay, right? But please, I don't support piracy. So please, don't say Kisor had said this, that okay, piracy is great. No, everybody should get their worth, especially intellectual property must be respected. But don't randomly go on Telegram channels, don't randomly go on various websites, etc., and start solving random questions. No, those questions have no probability of being asked in the examination. Focus on solving questions, get a hold of these mock tests, the test series that these coaching institutes have. Pick any coaching institute of repute and name and start solving their questions. You'll also get those model answers. Okay. So focus on trying to get as many points as possible. Those model answers are truly too model to be copied. It is not possible to replicate them. Just follow a standard structure. In a couple of days, or possibly in a few days or a couple of weeks, I would also have a separate video on answer writing only, on what points to incorporate, but that's for another day. In the meantime, focus on having as many points across in your answer, right? Those model answers will give you more points. So don't go crazy for the kind of language that they are writing, or the great introduction, or how they're finishing every answer in exactly 148 words or 247 words. That's something that cannot be replicated in the examination. Be realistic, right? So this is how you get your questions to solve, not random Telegram groups. I'm not against those groups. They might be posting great questions, but as far as I have seen, in most cases, those questions are either too vague or too complicated to be asked in the examination, right? So we'll refrain. One GS paper at a time. So if I'm, let's say, studying my optional, I'll follow one GS paper. So history, one subject; geography, one subject. I'll take all of them as one subject, and I'll study just one GS paper at one time. Okay. Now, I also assume that you are not attending a coaching. If you're attending a coaching class, then we'll have to see to it that, let's say, I am attending a coaching class right now, and I have 4 hours or 3 hours of classes. Now, after those 3 hours of classes, I might not have sufficient time to prepare something new. So maybe I'll just focus on revising what was taught on that day, right? That should also be the idea. Anyway, so this is for GS papers 1, 2, and 3. That would mean largely all of the GS papers, like say polity, geography, history, all these things. Slowly and steadily, we'll be covering all those topics one by one, have a proper plan in place, and keep on rotating one topic from paper one. So if I have started studying, say, modern India, modern history, then once this cycle is over, I'll then come study something from paper two, let's say polity, and then something from paper three, economics, then go back to paper one, and we keep on doing this. Okay. And don't devote too much of time into revision. Revision has to be fast as an exercise, quick revision, right? Now, coming to paper 4, that is the ethics paper, it requires separate focus. why ethics is a key factor, right? The paper where everyone quotes Gandhiji and still gets average marks. I mean, everybody is quoting that. How? And still getting pretty averages marks. See, let's accept this. Ethics is not about vomiting definitions. It's about building real life examples, linkages, case studies, and a very clear ethical compass that feels authentic. So this is one paper where I say, show, don't tell. This is what works. And yes, I mean, being a good person is optional, but writing like one, that's mandatory. So ethics, we will divide this into two. The first part, where you have all your standard definitions and your quotation based questions. The second would be the case studies. So you have to be very selective. My first target is to solve all the case studies that have come since 2013. Okay, so we'll go back from 2024, then 23, etc. So pick up a time to read the case study. Take one case study at a time. Read the case study, read what the matter is about, and then think over it. Let it seep in your mind. So throughout your day, you're doing your work. Whenever you're free, think about it. What can be a possible outcome? Because case studies are of four or five kinds only. Let's say there's a case study which talks about some kind of dilemma, ethical dilemma that you have been placed in. So, what would be the right way? What would the right approach be? How would I decide? We can maybe discuss with your family members. So, case study is something that you keep on doing on a daily basis without even actively doing it. And once you have thought about it enough, say 2 3 days, then put your pen down on paper and then solve it through your proper structure of how your faculty has taught you, right? So case studies will go every day, one case study every 2 3 days. So every week I would expect you to solve at least two case studies. This is a bare minimum. And on Sunday would be devoted to one Sunday would be devoted to these kind of questions. We will focus on the definition part, we'll focus on some quotation based questions, etc. So every alternate Sunday, I am practicing ethics as a standard practice till the exam is over, right? Of course, this will all be done only till January, end of January, because from the 1st of February or the first week of February, we focus specifically for prelims. That's also important, right? So till January, this is going to be my structure for ethics. Every alternate Sunday, I just go and go through all the definitions, crisis of conscience, maybe what is integrity, what is ethics, what is moral compass, all these terms, right? Uh, then I'll focus on some quotations and try to classify those quotations based on various categories, on what kind of quotations are these, how to address them, what is the deeper meaning of this. So maybe every Sunday, 2 to 3 hours will be devoted to alternate Sunday to ethics, solely to ethics. And this will go on because if you can crack the code of getting a good score in ethics, your problem is solved because this will push your rank drastically. It could make a difference of 70, 80 ranks. That could push you from an IRS to an IAS, right? So please focus on this ethics paper, and this should be a consistent practice. Make this as a part of your daily life, I would say. Then the next thing is your essay. Essay is very simple to follow. Every alternate day, I write the essay. See, essay is that mysterious creature who smiles at some, ignores most, and slaps a few. See, this paper is about maturity of thought, not heavy GK. If your essay sounds like an optional answer or a GS compilation, game over, frankly. In essay, we learn the art of saying deep things simply, right? One essay would mean what? One big argument, beautiful packaging. That's the formula. What I would do every alternate Sunday, because one Sunday I focus on ethics every alternate Sunday, I will write one essay. One essay. And this essay must be evaluated. Whichever institute you are in, wherever you are, please get it evaluated by somebody. The faculty was taught you. As simple as that. This is where you need evaluation. And yes, essay requires language. This is where your linguistic skills will be tested. See, in GS papers, it is very easy. You have various strategies of answer writing where you write more points and you get more marks. But here, things like grammar, things like structure of an answer, or things like choice of words, things like spellings, they start making a lot of sense. So again, you would know and you have learned enough on how to focus on essays, reading more books, etc. Try reading some very basic books, read more books, read more articles on your own. That improves your language in general, that improves your vocabulary in general. So that will all reflect in your essay. But practice. Every alternate Sunday, I have to write an essay. That is something which is decided. So I'll start writing an essay. We can start by at least writing the last 3 years PYQs, and then we can again some test series when we'll see what kind of essays they are mentioning, and then we can choose one and write on that. Simple. So when I say every alternate Sunday, I'm expecting you to write at least 20 to 25 essays, or at least 20 essays before the exam. That is sufficient practice, and this is the bare minimum we expect. Okay, so this is for the essay, and ultimately, as I said, it all comes down to what? Answer writing. The most abused, the most misunderstood part of UPSC prep is answer writing. See, it's not, and it's rather never about starting daily answer writing marathons on day one. No, no. It's about timing it smartly, building content first, and then sharpening the skill like a muscle, maybe. Think of it like your gym. There's no point in lifting heavy weights if you don't know the form. And also, start slow. Let's build on some basic content and then start. Don't wait for that day to arrive that, okay, I have now finally learned everything. I'm great at governance, polity. I'm great at Indian society, social justice, history, geography, economics. Now I can write a great answer. No, no. See, when you go to the gym for the first time, you don't say, where is the 50 kg dumbbell? You say, by where is that pink cute dumbbell? You might feel shy lifting that when others are lifting and thumping their chests and shouting and lifting and benching 100 kgs and 200 kgs, and you are here with a 2 kg dumbbell. But that's your journey, right? Stop comparing. Start writing answers on a daily basis. So, at least from the optional paper, I will write one answer every day, and for the GS paper I am covering, I'll write one answer every day. And every 2 3 days, I'm also going to write one case study answer. That's also there. And then on the Sunday, I am either going to write an essay or I am going to write what? The ethics answer. So, over the course of the week, I would have had how many answers? Around 10 15, roughly, right? This is the number of answers I'm writing on a regular basis. This is till your January. What we'll do post, let's say, your prelims, that's something you don't have to worry about right now. Just focus on your journey till January. Okay, what we'll do in February, March, April, and May is something we'll discuss in January. Right now, don't worry about prelims too much. Focus on the mains part first. We'll build on solid content. Okay, so content first, we'll build on content, writing second, feedback always. Get your answers evaluated if possible, right? And don't be too harsh, and please avoid peer evaluation. Trust me, it might not work. If there's somebody who's cleared the main examination, etc., then that's great. But for two friends who are both newbies, you evaluating his or her answer, giving them 9 out of 10, and they giving you 8.5, and both are happy and rejoicing, walking merrily down the road, makes no sense. It is a useless exercise. So, for a lot of you, this answer writing can be a challenge, rather, regularity can be a challenge. You can enroll in some test series, but again, that requires some kind of money. If money is no concern for you, great. If it's a concern for you, you have plenty of, as I said, test series available in the market or on various channels. You can get them, see their model answers, and that's also something you can do, right? So, answer writing is a must. As I said, I'll just make a video in a few days on how to write a great answer, at least how to begin writing answers. We'll discuss all that in detail later on, but yes, this needs to be followed. Okay. Now, see, beyond answer writing, before I discuss on the key aspect of timetable, there is one thing that a lot of aspirants are worried about: CSAT, right? Now, to CSAT or not to CSAT, that's the big question. CSAT is that gatekeeper, ignored by toppers, feared by many. And it's never about solving all the 80 questions. It's about making sure that you are not writing a love letter to UPSC next year saying, "Sir, I cleared GS, but CSAT ruined my life." I see. Now, this let me also be very clear. A lot of students do claim this. Right? In GS, I scored 110 marks. In CSAT, I failed. I don't buy all that always, but yes, I have enough evidence to believe also that there are some students who did score very good in GS and failed in CSAT. When they send me their personal scores, and this is something that I'm quoting from since the last 7 8 years, I've been at least since 2016 onwards or 2015 onwards, when I have experienced this personally, that yes, there are some students who have scored 108 marks, 112 marks. Once a chap sent me with a score of 119 in GS and scored around 61 or 62 in the CSAT paper. In fact, I used to quote about him a lot in my next 2 3 years. This was back in 2018-19. So, I mean, yes, this is a concern. Now, what do I do with CSAT? We keep CSAT sharp, not overkill, not neglect, balanced, targeted. But then, who should practice and how much should I practice? Because every extra minute devoted to CSAT is a minute wasted, frankly. You won't get any bonus marks in your main examination or interview that, okay, sir, ma'am, I scored 174 marks in my CSAT. Please give me a better posting. Please give me my home card. No, not really. So for this, I tell you a simple exercise, which I tell in the class as well. Please solve last three, if not five, or possibly 5 years PYQs or paper. Take your CSAT paper, 2025 paper, 2024 paper, 2023 paper, and if possible, 22 and 21 also. The course of next 5 days, please find time. Full exam condition. In full exam condition, I will solve the CSAT paper. This means I'll sit for 2 hours, no disturbance, timed completely, no calculator. I mean, nothing of this sort, which would not be an exam type feel. Sit in one place with a proper OMR sheet and solve it. Exam condition. And I will do nothing but keep a track of my scores. How much did I score in all these papers? Okay. Now, there are three categories. People who are scoring more than 100. If you are scoring more than 100 in at least 3 or 4 of these 5 papers, don't waste your time in practicing for CSAT. After the month of February, you can incorporate some mock tests to keep you in touch. That's it. That is going to be enough. Please don't waste time in solving these papers. Not required. Those who are scoring between 60 to 80, 90, or 60 to 100, I would say, this is where the problem is. You might be out of practice. So here what you can do, again, every Sunday you can start focusing on solving questions, practice questions. And then once you solve questions, if you find that okay, maybe my weak area is quantitative aptitude, then I can focus on certain topics which have a higher probability of being asked maybe. So selective targeting can be done. But yes, I would want you to at least devote 1 hour of time every Sunday to solving some questions, right? And then once you have done this for a month, take a break. Next 1 month, don't do it. Again, next month, come back to it. Okay. This is what you have to do. And for those who are scoring less than 60 marks, so for you guys, sadly, this is that evil that you have to, how would we put it, necessary evil that you would have to live with. This would require regular practice. This means we'll have to incorporate CSAT on a daily basis. Every alternate day, not daily, that would be an overkill. Daily, every alternate day for 1 hour, I am going to practice and start by focusing on two areas first. Maybe you can have a combination of quant and reasoning, right? Or maybe you can combine quant and say English. That is something that you can decide. So focus on building two areas first, and then be the third area, or some small parts of the third area. But every alternate day, 1 hour, till you start feeling confident of getting a score. And then maybe after 2 or 3 months, I'll take a mock test and check my score to see whether I've improved or not. And both these people and these people should frequently, every month or so, take a mock test. In between, don't take a random mock test. Okay, so that I can see the change I have made, and keep a track of your scores. This is what you have to do. So please, people, the first thing should be to know where you stand and genuinely be true to yourself. So I don't want you to overkill, wasting your time in practicing CSAT every day, because then you could have spent that time judiciously into preparing for your say polity, history, ethics, etc. optional. Rather focus on that. But if CSAT is a concern for you, then yes, we have to also incorporate the practice on a regular basis, not every day, but every alternate day, right? Lastly, it all boils down to, as I say, regularity of the timetable. Finally, the timetable. This is where most people become either monks or maniacs. See, no 14-hour drama, please. No 4 a.m. club nonsense. You are not some Sigma male here. Relax on the YouTube nonsense. The best timetable is the one that you can repeat daily without breaking your soul. Okay, first things first, there is no, I mean, of course, scientifically speaking, there are some great times to mug up something and understand something. Let's not get into a scientific discussion on that. Let's reserve it for your therapy sessions from your trained psychiatrist or other psychologists, that you will have to experience yourself later on if you have sufferings in life. But yes, of course, scientifically, there are some great times, early mornings and late evenings, to mug up and to understand things depending on how your life cycle is or how your daily routine is. But feel free. If you're a night bird, a night owl, no problem. If you're a morning bird, no problem. But make a timetable which suits you, which suits your life cycle and your way of life. But start with at least 6 hours of studies. 6 hours. We'll gradually increase it to 8 hours every day, we can push to 10 hours ultimately. See, anything beyond that can only happen for a short duration, short bursts. Of course, is it not possible to study for 12 hours or 14 hours? Yes, it is, but not for long. Maybe just before the exam, that burst, that can be done. But we cannot consistently be studying for 12 hours. Then you know what you'd be doing, right? You would not be studying. See, we build a timetable that is realistic, that is sustainable, and that is tailored for the long haul. Consistency beats intensity always. This exam is about perseverance. This exam is about discipline. This exam is never about IQ. How disciplined you are, how regular you are. But yes, anything less than 6 hours would be a challenge. See, what is going to happen after all? You are simply going to take more time. So, if somebody can clear the exam in, say, 2 years, you will take 3 years or 4 years, right? Now, there are two other kinds of people who will have a question. All those college students, what do I do, sir? I don't have time. So, you will have to, as I said, you will take more time simply because this exam requires effort. This exam requires that input. And same goes for working professionals. Again, the same concern. This will take more time to clear, not 1 but 2 years. So you'll have to find out time. And for college and working professionals, my advice is always and has always been study before you go to college and before you go to work. Because if you push your preparation to after work, when you come back home tired, you just want to sleep, doze off, maybe while opening the reading the book, or maybe just watching some YouTube short, etc. And that's how you sleep. Now you become too tired, your brain is exhausted. Today's day and age, the world around, the companies are sucking the blood out of the employee. We are in India. There is no respect at all for a person's personal problem. There's too much of competition for that, frankly. I mean, if you have, say, headache in a foreign country, it's a Nordic country, people get, oh, people take it seriously. And of course, we also are to be blamed for all these false and you know, misuse of all this good behavior of our, let's say, college teachers, professors, and company bosses, where we fake our diseases, we fake deaths of our family members, we have killed our grandparents multiple times. So that's also true. I mean, how can I trust an employee? He's constantly ill. So, but the other side is also true. Your company is going to suck the blood out of you if they're paying you a single penny, right? That's how the rich become richer, right? There's a very interesting story. Once this boss came to his office in a very costly car, maybe some new model of Maybach, and the employee was sitting outside and he saw the car, admired it, saying, "Sir, great car, sir, great car." The boss says, "Don't worry, if you work hard and be consistent, come to office on time, put in your 100%, next year I can buy one more such car." That's how it is, right? So, of course, what I would suggest is try to study before you go for work, not after you come back home. Same goes for college. And during your working hours, again, if it is possible, try to search for things online. Maybe you can have some question solving thing. What you studied in the morning, you can solve some PYQs, etc. on that. Just go through it when you find time, or maybe try to download and go through the apps like the Hindu, the Indian Express, reading the editorials whenever you find some time during the office. That's how you can use your office time. But again, trust me, it is difficult. I fully agree that for working professionals and college students, it is going to be challenging. There is no competition when it comes to a full time aspirant. And for full time aspirants, please have a proper timetable. Don't go crazy that 7 to 8 study, 8 to 8 to break, 8 to 10 to study, 10 to 10:05 break. That is nonsense. That timetable is bound to fail the very first day. And if you break a promise you make to yourself, then you are going to lose track of everything, right? So make a timetable that can be followed. So ideally start with 6 hours, move it to 8, and then 10. And then, yes, also one more thing, when it comes to studying, there can be bad days, of course, and there are going to be good days where you are highly motivated. That's why we say the preparation goes in sine waves, the good days and the bad days. In bad days, I will never stop studying. Maybe I'll just go through the current affairs monthly magazine, right? That is something I would always recommend. Pick any coaching institute's monthly magazine, 1 hour every day to current affairs monthly magazine, and maybe 30 minutes to that month's Yojana and Kurukshetra, not the magazine, but the gist. You can search for the gist, the summary of Yojana Kurukshetra. Hundreds of coaching institutes provide that. Take a printout, copy it, 30 minutes. 1 hour, 30 minutes into current affairs. That's it. Even on the worst of my days, I will try to put in at least 4 hours of studies. Now, if there are some days where you're, let's say, you experience some heartbreak, maybe those are days again, of course, then you can spend that day crying, but never take a break longer than 3 or 4 days where you have not touched your book. No, that should not be done. So focus on those bad days to have at least 3 4 hours of studies. And then on some great days where you're feeling very motivated, then maybe 12 hours. Maybe the policeman caught you on the road and scolded you, slapped you. Then you're very motivated that I'll be an IS officer and harass him, transfer him immediately. Great. Day of motivation. Any motivation is good motivation. As Raki Sawan, the legendary actress, said, that any publicity is good publicity. So that's also great. Maybe on those days, 12 hours, 14 hours possible, right? But don't overdo it. So 8 10 hours of consistent study, and this is actually feasible, right? This is completely feasible. Timetable is important. So make your own timetable based on your own needs, requirements, your obligations towards your family, towards your college, your work, maybe your girlfriend, your boyfriend, everything. Incorporate that. 8 to 10 hours of time is something you're giving to yourself. If you can do this, you will help all of them in the long run. Okay, so this is the last thing that needs to be incorporated. So summarizing all this, finally, my innocent souls, this is your target 2026 battle plan. No drama, no overconfidence, no breakdowns at 2 a.m., no overthinking at 3 a.m. on what could have been done, right? And no scrolling through UPSC motivation YouTube videos and Instagram reels. We have done the mistakes, we have learned the lessons. Now it's about uh, quiet, boring, consistent work. The kind of work that does not make Instagram reels but makes into those final lists. See, always remember, UPSC does not reward the most emotional warrior, it rewards the most stable one. So, sip your tea, coffee, control your dopamine, avoid strategy debates on various Telegram groups and WhatsApp chats. Just bloody execute. Because 1 year from now, when people ask you, कि भैया दीदी कैसे किया, your answer will be very simple. काम किया. I put in the effort. Let's do this. Okay. So that's all for me for this video. We'll meet shortly in the next video. Till then, that is all for me. Jai Hind.